Hey everybody, it is Tim with the University of Vinyl. Thanks for tuning in today, especially after that outrageous teaser that I put out. Listen, this might be a longer video, so I'm going to go ahead and put in chapter marks for the 12 different records that I'm going to talk about today, just in case people want to skip through and you don't want to listen to my babble talk. I get it. I could have done a flip video and taken 3 or 4 minutes with a few words on each record, but I decided I'm going to take a little bit of time here. You know the drill. You kind of know my MO. I'm going to show some clips of a few of the records playing because, frankly, my love of this hobby was reignited last Sunday. I decided to go to this record show in Denver. I had all but kind of ruled it out because I'd just been to a show. I think right before Labor Day or just after Labor Day. So this was about a month after the previous show that I had been to. And if you watched my September wrap-up video, I did mention that I was on the fence about going to this show. And I think I had made a decision I was not going to go. So it's going to be a longer video. I need to tell you guys that, like I talked about in the kind of teaser video, I think I've been buying too many records for the last 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. I've added a ton of great titles to my collection. Mainly OGs, original pressings, country of origin stuff. I've really been kind of working overtime, checking out used bins, going to record shows, trying to be somewhat focused, not going in and just buying records that have got a song that I used to listen to in my parents' car on FM radio in 1977. I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to focus on quality titles with the music that I love and, get the best bang for buck out of these records in my collection. And part of my thinking was, hey, I just need to kind of turn the faucet down a little bit on the new purchases and enjoy what I have. Take a look at my shelving situation here in my too small of a room that is my current listening room, and maybe get some more shelving, maybe reorganize this room so I can get some of these records off the floor into shelving, into sleeves, and then just kind of enjoy the music for a couple months. That was where I thought I was heading. Now, also, my thinking, that all sounds very rational, right? And practical. But as we all know, this is kind of an addiction. The thrill of the hunt, the thrill of the chase. Walking home with a 1977 original pressing of a great album. I said 1977 before. A 1982 original pressing of one of your favorite albums. And it's maybe a Monarch press or a Specialty Records Corporation pressing. Or a Santa Maria. Or it's got Ken Dunn recorders in the Dead Wax. Or it's a Bob Ludwig. On and on and on and on. That is always present, and it's hard to kind of turn that down with this hobby, especially if you're as engaged and curious as I am, and a lover of the music as well. So along with those thoughts of trying to turn the faucet down on the purchasing, up until this whole kind of inflation situation and the Fed raising interest rates, I was actively on Zillow considering maybe we should move to get, a little different type of a house configuration. And admittedly, I was looking at, finished basement spaces, great rooms, other things where I could have the listening room of my dreams. And then inflation happened, and the mortgage rate is through the roof right now. There's no way I'm going to try and talk my wife into moving with this situation with mortgage rates. So I need to kind of chill out, enjoy what I have, and I could be much worse off than others out there. I am a middle-aged white guy, with a good job, decent job. My wife works. We don't have any kids. We have a couple dogs. Life is great so far. So anyway, I have to tell you, last Saturday, my favorite football team, college football team, University of Michigan, it was looking a little bit dicey. They were playing Indiana. And here in Colorado, a noon Eastern game is on at 10 a.m., which is fantastic. Finally, second half, things began to kind of clarify with U of M. Things looked great. They won handily. I think they've dropped out of the top 4 or 5 now for some ridiculous reason. But anyway, after that game, I was feeling fantastic. And then my wife told me that I had not, apparently she had told me this earlier and, claimed that I never listened. Anyway, she had to work a charity shift on Sunday, like from 10 to 2 or 10 to 3, something like that. She works at a really nice upscale store where they get free trade goods, etc. And it's a charity organization. Anyway, I'm sure you've seen these shops. Well, when she told me that she wasn't going to be home, and my NFL team, the Detroit Lions, are sucking so bad, I was not going to bother wasting any time watching any football that day. So hey, I decided to pull the trigger, and I wanted to get down right when this show opened at 10 o'clock in the morning. I had a hit list, which I'm going to show you now, and it was pretty focused. So that's where I started. I was in and out of this show in an hour and a half, so walked out at 11:30 in the morning. Walked out of that show just feeling re-energized, super happy for the things that I had found and that I'm adding to my collection. Decided to treat myself at a local seafood eatery, 2 miles down the road. Everything was clicking that morning for me, and felt great on the 40-minute drive north back home, and started working through these records and kind of logging them in Discogs. I've done a little bit of cleaning. And I think now I'm ready to talk about these records that I've added to my collection. So that was a very long preamble. Thanks again for tuning in today. And I'm going to just kind of roll through the records now with some observations and a little personal info here and there about why I'm happy I'm adding it to the collection, why is this thing so important to me, etc. So here we go. Okay, number one on my, if you notice that hit list, this is one of my favorite bands. They are really kind of high on my radar right now. Currently, they're on a tour of Europe. Pretty extensive tour, like 40 dates in 38 days or something like that. Does that even make sense? So anyway, they're high on my list. I am definitely going to see them live if they come to the United States next year. I have never seen this band, and the band I'm talking about is The Cure. I am slowly but surely trying to build up their discography in my collection. I have a really nice promo pressing of the top, also the Head on the Door. I've got Standing on a Beach, the 2 LP comp, which is just fantastic. I didn't have this record, so in the United States, after the Head on the Door, I think they put out the 2 LP comp, um, Standing on a Beach. Fantastic. Assembled all of the singles from the early years, all the way up to like 1985. But in 1987, we got a double album, and of course, that was Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. I found a pristine copy, U.S. first pressing. It has Townhouse in the dead wax. So the Townhouse was a legendary mastering and plating facility in central London. They're no longer with us. I've got a video on albums that were cut and mastered at the Townhouse. Check it out. This was an incredible, sprawling album. They were verging, they were definitely in the pop realm. What might have been their biggest hit ever, Just Like Heaven. But when you put the needle down on track 1, record 1, which is called The Kiss, it is a murky, exciting slice of psychedelia that definitely points directly to what would come 2 years later with Disintegration. It's in the same style, the same vein, the same glorious goth psych. And I tell you what, this album, first of all, there are no spindle, markings around the spindle hole. It looks like it's never been played. My only complaint is that it's not a gatefold. They've got the 2 records in the single sleeve. Absolutely pristine, mint condition. Again, I don't think this record had ever been played. I paid cool special label there. I definitely played a little bit over median for this, but there were several records at one of the dealers who I just happened to know. I sold this guy a vintage Sony receiver like 4 years ago when I was just getting back into records, and so we know each other, we know of each other. He's at all the shows, and he had just come into an incredible collection, and there will be more records to come that came from this collection that he just kind of walked into his shop one day. He's got 2 shops here in northern Colorado. Great guy. But that is Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. I never see this record out in the wild. I've never seen it once for sale, so I was overjoyed with that. And we're just getting started. Okay, next up is an album that I have been looking for. I think I actually mentioned it in my kind of wrap-up video that I did after the previous show that I went to in August. And I want to find, I've been looking for a clean first U.S. pressing or early U.S. pressing of Pink Floyd's The Wall. And I found it at this show, including the very cool kind of sticker that they stuck on that top left-hand corner. This is an incredible album. Mike from the In Groove, if you go watch a shootout from him like 5 years ago, he did a shootout. Mike was clean shaven at that point in time. Check that video out. But he had the U.S. early first editions. He actually had a promo copy, a white label promo, but this album was mastered at the Mastering Lab by Doug Sachs. You will find TML and the Dead Wax on all 4 sides. Also, some telltale signs on how to tell whether or not you have a first pressing. No barcode, of course. And you'll notice that this whole cover artwork is more, kind of leaning towards cream rather than an extreme flat white, which you will see on later pressings. So you want to look for that cream. If you happen to stumble across one that has these original stickers on it, then that's another telltale sign. And then we have to kind of look inside, and the artwork was, of course, fantastic on this album, almost as good as the music. But there are some telltale signs in here. First of all, the early pressings will say produced by David Gilmour, and words and music Roger Waters. Now later pressings, the credits changed, and I'm going to put something up for a later copy, which mentions that the album was written by Roger Waters, and the produced by David Gilmour is gone, and instead it's kind of co-produced. They do list all the band members. All the band members are not listed on the earlier first pressing sleeve. So holy shit, I was impressed when I put this on my turntable. This thing is dead clean. It is silent. That's an issue with this album. I have picked up a used copy in the past that I've since flipped away. Way too much surface noise. And the track that you want to listen to be absolutely blown away is Comfortably Numb. That is, I believe, the last song on side 4. Again, it's a double album. It's a beautiful gatefold. Comfortably Numb, if you know the story, this is the song that basically broke up Pink Floyd. Roger Waters wanted a polished track with strings. Michael Kamen had been hired to do charts and string arrangements that they put on after the recording in the south of France. David Gilmour wanted to have a much more kind of searing, down and dirty sound to that song, and they finally settled on kind of a mix between the tracks. So the middle part has those strings that you will hear on it, but that incredible, iconic David Gilmour ending solo is the original. I think it was his first pass at recording that solo. They did many, many, many takes thereafter. They all decided, Bob Ezrin, of course, produced this album. They all decided that first solo, and it is searing, and it is just indelible. One of the great pieces of music that you will hear. That is what made the final cut on that song. So that whole track is a composite of the two different philosophies between Waters and Gilmour, and Gilmour said it actually was a negotiation and a collaboration, and it was probably the last time that they actually were able to agree not to agree, or to agree to even work on something together, which was Comfortably Numb. If you have not seen the final Pink Floyd performance of that song at Live 8 in London, check it out on YouTube. It's a pretty amazing historical document now, all those years ago already. 2005, I think, is when that aired. I watched it live. I was actually living in Spain at the time, and I remember watching it live on the BBC or something. It was an all-day concert, and it was absolutely amazing. 1979, The Wall, Pink Floyd. If you paid close attention to that Hummin' Guru little cleaning segment, you might have noticed that there was a Zappa record that I was cleaning and working on. The reason being is because I picked up this record And it is one of my favorite Zappa records, Shake Your Booty. Really nice, clean cover. Some kind of a date up here. It lends me to believe that this might have been owned by a library at one point in time. Someone went in and checked this thing out and never brought it back. uh, I already have a UK pressing of this, and I wanted to get a clean US original. It sounds great. It's got master disc on all four sides. It was mastered by Bob Ludwig. This was on sale at the show for $5. I looked at the records. They were a little dusty, and I was concerned, but for $5, I was not going to let it go, and brought it home. And I tell you what, guys, I am so happy with that Hummin' Guru. So far, that thing is worth its weight in gold, all $400 or whatever it cost. And look at Frank with that cigarette holder. What a badass. Love this album. It's a little bit profane. If you have younger children around, maybe wait till they've gone to bed to put this record on. Here's another record that I picked up at the exact same booth as Shake Your Booty. $5 again. A pristine copy of Don Henley's, what is this thing called? The End of the Innocents. I actually saw him on the tour supporting this album back in like 1990. This is actually harder to find than the two previous Henley solo albums. Remember, this came out in 1989. Vinyl definitely kind of on the downswing at that point in time. And I don't usually see this out and about, but for $5, wasn't going to pass it up. Now, I love this photo. You've got Mike Campbell and Stan Lynch in that group photo, along with J.D. Souther. Who else is in there? Danny Korchmar, who co-produced the album along with Henley. And the other guy is Bob Glaub, fantastic bass player. This was a great album. Some incredible music, great compositions, incredible playing. This was mastered by Stephen Marcusson at Precision Labs. Sounds fantastic. I Will Not Go Quietly, The End of the Innocents, New York Minute, Give Me What You Got, If Dirt Were Dollars, and The Heart of the Matter. Great album. Can't go wrong for $5. Got home, punched this thing into Discogs. Figured out that it was actually a Columbia House pressing, which I didn't realize, or a Columbia House edition, club edition. But the median on this thing is like $35-40. So I made out with that album. And, this is just a counter to people who are out there talking about the high price of records today. You have to kind of shop around, especially at these shows. Yeah, I was looking for a copy of the Eagles' The Long Run at the last show I went to. And I kid you not, I saw one booth, it was priced at $50. Another, it was $42. I finally found the cleanest copy I've ever seen of this album. That matte black cover is usually just riddled with ring wear. I found a copy for $14, VG++ near mint. So you have to shop around at these shows. Okay, Denver's got a couple really famous record shops. Everyone talks about Twist and Shout, and for good reason. It's an amazing shop. It's expansive, right? You need to have some quality time if you're going to go there. Now, Twist and Shout did not have a booth at this show, but the other kind of real famous shop that's been around forever is Wax Trax. One of my favorite shops in Denver. They actually have a dedicated used shop, and about 4 doors down now, they have a corner shop that is all new titles and reissues. They're usually at all the shows, and they have a reputation for bringing heat. So when I was through the door at 10:05 in the morning, that was the first booth that I actually went to. I love these guys because they they really make it easy for, record collectors. What am I looking at? Is this worthwhile? Do I need to really dig into this any further? They're going to put all the salient details on the front cover with sometimes a little bit of a snark, a little bit of humor. This is a modern English album. Original 83 US promo copy of their second album with original inner sleeve. Yep, it has I Melt With You. So I just love that. And I have been finding some fantastic stuff. There's that gold stamp promo kind of hidden in the bottom corner where you usually don't see it. Original inner sleeve. Great, great, great album. This was $15. Happy to pay that for something in pristine condition. And I haven't even listened to this yet. I remember it from years ago. I had it on CD and couldn't pass it up. From the same Wax Trax booth, another great album, still into Shrink. This is the third Camper Van Beethoven album. I love David Lowery. I love everything that he's done, especially the second band, Cracker. I am not as familiar. I remember a few of the hits from Camper Van Beethoven, so I'm looking forward to giving this a listen. This was inexpensive. This was like $10 in the Shrink. It looks like it's never been played. So another win there. Camper Van Beethoven. I just did a video called Men and Machines. It's 3 or 4 videos back. Looking at that period in 1979 to 1985. And the rise of, I'm talking about synth pop here basically, but the rise of the Mellotron. People started leaning on the Mellotron heavily again. And then like the Fairlight and the Lynn drum machine, etc., etc. One of the stars of that video, of course, I think it was the last album that I showed, Architecture and Morality, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. This is an original first UK pressing. It's got the die cut cover here, and very, very, very cool. This thing was $10. Wasn't gonna pass it up. It's in near mint condition. The first UK editions had this pale blue, and then they had a pale gold as well. The pale gold was used for the US first pressings as well. And I don't recall if the US pressings had the die cut cover or not. I actually have a US pressing, but country of origin came into play here. Saw a bargain and jumped on this thing. And I haven't listened to this yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. So many great songs. Souvenir, of course. Sealand, Joan of Arc. The beginning and the end is an epic song to close the album. 1981 OMD, great, great, great album. In 1987, we got Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me from The Cure. And then we got the self-titled Echo and the Bunnymen from Echo and the Bunnymen. This was the last last Bunnymen album featuring the great Ian McCullough. Lead vocals, of course. This is a great, great, great album. I haven't kept track if the Bunnymen have... I know they've reformed for touring. I don't know if they put out any new music. My favorite track on this album, it's not Lips Like Sugar. It is the lead track on side 1 called The Game. An incredible, ethereal, at times anthemic song. This is another pristine copy that I picked up at this show for not a ton of money. I think this was $12. Super, super happy to add this to the collection. Another title, this one from 1986. I don't see it very often and was happy to find this at the show. That is, yeah, the 86 self titled Crowded House album, the trio led by, of course, Neil Finn. This had the huge hit Something So Strong. Um, what else? Don't Dream It's Over was the huge hit, right? But Something So Strong equally as good, as far as I'm concerned. Um, that's what I call love. Man, I just remember this album being huge on radio at that time. That Something So Strong song, I actually started to get a little burned out on it, but haven't heard it in years. This was all of like $7. It's a pristine copy. Um, it was mastered at Capitol Records. There is Wally in the Dead Wax, Wally Trowgett. I took a quick look at this record, pulled it out of the sleeve. When I saw Wally in there, it immediately went home with me. You'll notice if you look at that very laser focused hit list that I had walking into this show, I had the Clash's debut album. Now I was definitely, and I'm still on the lookout. I want to get a UK first pressing, but I didn't even have the US first pressing. So that, of course, came out on Epic. This album came out in the United States in 1979. It was a full 2 years following the UK release that Epic finally got their act together and put this record out. Probably after they had heard London Calling, in the can. They said, "Oh shit, we need to get the. I guess this band is something to be reckoned with. I guess we better throw out this debut album really quick." Um, anyway, what an iconic album! This sounds really nice. It's on Epic. Clash City Rockers. I'm So Bored with the USA. Side 2, Janie Jones. On and on and on. Absolutely required for any self-respecting record collector to have in their collection. Okay, everybody, I've got two more records to show today. These were number 11 and number 12 as far as the total number of records that I bought and brought home. If you saw my hit list, I made some detailed notes on the Rolling Stones 1971 Sticky Fingers album. I got what I was looking for pretty much. Let me explain. So first of all, this is a 1974 pressing of Sticky Fingers. Full working zipper, of course. This thing is in pristine condition. I've got it in a sleeve right now, but hopefully you can see. Usually, again, this thing is riddled with dead wax. The zipper might be broken. But most importantly, what I was looking for is a Monarch pressing. And you'll see -MO in the label matrix. And then there is the telltale Monarch sign on sides A and B in the dead wax as well. Monarch pressings and Rolling Stones albums are legendary. They are preferred as when we're talking about US pressings. Now, of course, I would have loved to have an original 1971 Monarch, but I have listened to this thing, the punch, the drive, the slam, the nuance of Dead Flowers is absolutely amazing. I have never heard any of these songs in any other format that sounds better than this 1974 pressing. Again, I don't have the 71 to compare it to. I was just simply amazed to find this for a very, very reasonable $40. I remember, I think I saw Patrick from the Vinyl Archivist saying he had got one for 25. that was in similar condition, great shape. It might have been a 71. If so, way to go, Patrick. But some other important things about this one. It has the 1841 Broadway address in the perimeter text. That's what you want to find. It does not have later issues. Have got a Warner Brothers little bubble logo in the perimeter text. There's no Warner Brother logo. Importantly, it has distributed by by ATCO, Atlantic Records Corporation. And those are all things that you want to see. What an incredible Rolling Stones album. It's the first time I have been able to find Sticky Fingers in any kind of condition that I would be happy as far as purchasing and taking home. Near mint condition. Again, absolutely no marks on the spindle holes. I don't think it's ever been played. I want to be very careful in handling the records. I've been derided again recently for touching the outer rim of a record. Sorry, folks. I'm not that concerned about fingerprints. That is Sticky Fingers, 1974 Monarch pressing. I'm stunned. I put this thing on and I'm just stunned by what I hear. Go find an early Monarch pressing of Sticky Fingers. Go immediately and find one. Okay, last but not least, I have never seen this record in the wild. This is the 1980 UK original pressing of Underwater Moonlight by the Soft Boys. This was in the shrink. I have since taken the shrink off. There was a wrinkle on that bottom corner right here that I was concerned with. You can see that. Everything else is totally fine. Is this the best thing that Robin Hitchcock has ever done? It ranks up there, and I am a Hitchcock fanatic. Look at this gorgeous laminated cover. I purposely have not decided to try the Yup Rock reissue. There are videos out there from people that I trust. And everyone says that the reissue is a big letdown as far as sound quality is concerned, as far as rolled off bass, not enough punch, not enough slam. You put this album on and, oh man, 1980, this is a post-punk masterpiece. Stunty, I hope you agree with me. We've had our battles about, hey, what is actually classified as post-punk or new wave. I think the Soft Boys in 1980 are post-punk, moving into new wave. Robin Hitchcock and the Egyptians later on, they're definitely a new wave band. Oh my God, this blew me away. When I found this at the same booth where I found 2 or 3 other great copies, I was done for the day. I had been there an hour and a half. I had accomplished pretty much everything I wanted to as far as that hit list was concerned. So happy. That's a document right now. You're seeing someone who is high on life, high on collecting records. This is the top of the mountain, folks. These 12 records made my day, made my month. I'm not going to bother to do, the best things that I added to my collection in October. You just saw it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. If you are liking my channel and my content and videos that I'm producing, I've actually branched into collabs lately. Maybe you've seen The Waxed and I waxing prophetically. Oh man, I had to do it. On the CTI Jazz Catalog in the great Creed Taylor. Check that out. That's a bit of a curveball as far as my wheelhouse. I usually don't talk about jazz a ton, you know, in my ramblings and videos, but I had a great time. That video is doing quite well as far as I've been marketing, so I look at analytics and stats, and couldn't help but noticing that that is performing very, very well. Fantastic interaction. There is a lot of love out there for the CTI jazz label from the early 70s up until the late 1970s. Anyway, I'm going way off base here. That's the end of today's video. I hope to be back soon with, I've got some ideas on some deep dives I'm thinking about doing. In the meantime, I'm going to put this on again and just put my feet up. Take care, everybody.